Video is for optimal account balancing, Leetcode number 465. First, we want a method called buildBalance, and that will basically go ahead and create the array of balances for each person. First, we need to set n equals to -1, and then we want to loop through all of the transactions, and we want to see how many elements in our array we should have. So once we've already looped through all of the transactions, we see that n is going to be, actually the size of the array is going to be n plus 1. And the reason for this is we started from person 0. So we want to increment that by 1 to make sure we have everybody in this array. We want to fill it with zeros because everyone's balance starts out at 0. Now we want to loop through all the transactions again to make sure that we're updating the balance to be correct for all of the from and the to. We see here that balance from is decremented by the amount and balance to is incremented by the amount. At the very end, we return balance. Now that we have our balance array, we want to call a recursive function called backtrack. Backtrack takes in a balance parameter and an index. The first thing we do in backtrack is we want to skip all of the people in the balances array that have a balance of 0. There's no need for us to review them because we don't need for them to have more money or to give more money. So we loop through by doing while index is less than balance.length and while the balance of the current index is 0, meaning that there's no need for us to consider this one, we increment the index. Now, if we found that the index equals balance.length, we want to return 0 because we've arrived at the very end of the array. So we're actually done. Now we actually need to set min-num transactions variable. I want to set it to infinity because as we're looping through the rest of the balances array, we want to continually compare to see what is the minimum of the existing minimum transactions or what we get from the recursive call. So what we want to do here is we're looping through balance, and we're setting the initializer for the for loop to be I equals idx plus 1. This is because we want to consider adjacent people. We want to consider the next one and the idx one and the I, which is idx plus 1. So if we see that there can be a transaction, meaning balance of I times balance of idx is negative, then we want to do something special here. We want to increment balance of I by balance of idx, and then we also want to do the recursive call. We want to set min-num transactions equal to math.min of the existing min-num transactions, and then we want to do 1 plus backtrack called with balance, comma, idx plus 1. This is because we want to add 1 for an additional transaction that we need to do every time that we see that there can be a transaction. And now, after that, we want to revert what we did before, which was a decrement. This is because when we've fully resolved the recursive call, we want to ensure that the balance is reset to the correct value. So we do balance of I minus equals balance of idx. At the very end, we want to return min-num transactions outside of the for loop. And that is a solution for optimal account balancing.